BRUCAST is back, baby.
Well, leadership is mainly about leadership. Communication plays a huge role in leadership, right? That if you cannot get your team to see where you're headed as a team or as a company, then you're going to have a hard time turning that into a successful team. So finding the right words so that your team sees where are we headed, why are we headed there, and why does it have to be us, why it's us taking on that journey. If you cannot find those words, then the road will be most likely a bumpy one, right?
Yeah, you need to get everyone on board. Whatever you're doing, you need to make everyone understand where you're going, basically. Yeah.
And that has changed a lot in the past years, right?
Really?
We've seen a lot of change. Yeah, I mean, just think back to our grandparents' time, right? Where leadership basically was the command and control style, where the leader was the one who says what the team is supposed to do, and the team was just expected to follow orders, right? And of course, good communication will make that approach easier, but ultimately, it's not what changes what tips the game here, right? What changes, what makes the most impact? That is hugely based on authority, and if you don't know how to follow those orders, there will be another worker who knows how to do it. But that has changed after a long time ago. So when you go look to our parents' times, that model changed to like the carrot and the stick. Where we saw that, well, that might not be the most effective way of doing things. And people started to think about that. So what would happen if we could motivate them? So not just threaten them, but motivate them with the carrot and incentives. And that's what we saw for a long period, that this incentive-based leadership was the way that successful businesses were run. But today, I think we're seeing a third way of doing things, and that's what I like to call leading by example, where the leader is basically the one who's going in front, who's living by example and showing the team how it's done. And really inspiring them through his own example here. But I think that this model is also rather limited, because it means that you would have to have all the answers, right? And that's why to me it feels like we're seeing another shift here towards lighting the path. That it's not about you having all the answers and necessarily being in front, but tapping into the brilliance of the whole team, appreciating that they are there for a reason, because they might actually be better at one or two things than you are, and that's actually the reason why you hired them in the first place. So lighting them a path. And so that we are all aligned on the same journey. That's how the best performing teams are run today. And this model of all the four is not thinkable without great communication. That is built upon great communication.
Oh my God, Mike. Man, it's crazy. This is so interesting. It's crazy how many leaders nowadays are still stuck in the old ways, in the first model that I present. So let me recap. The first one is authoritarian. You just do whatever I told you to do, otherwise they're going to replace you. The second one is the carrot and the stick. The third one, what was the third one again? Sorry.
Leading by example.
Leading by example. And the fourth one, the new one, is you put someone as a leader because you hired them and they probably know more about something that you don't. It's crazy how many leaders that are still stuck in the first and second that I know that I met during my life. But it also makes sense because they're older as well. So, may I add another good skill to be a good leader? I would say is adaptability. You know what I mean? So be able to adapt to the new styles. That's something also require,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah. Not all of them
Yeah,
can adapt. Go ahead.
yeah, that's one of the problems of the old styles, right? Of the old models of leadership, that the leader was supposed to be the one who is right, right? Who knows how it's done, who knows what is right. But of course, more modern leaders, the adaptable ones that you mentioned, are the ones who understand that it was never about being right, but it was always about getting it right eventually, right? That it was about much more about asking the right questions than it was about having the right answers, and that we couldn't care less as a team about who had the answer, but that we found the answer and that we had the will to figure it out together rather than care about who had that, who contributed that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think in order for the fourth style to work, you really need to create an environment where ego is not part of. And that's hard because it's human, right? A lot of people, they just have like this inflated sense of self and a lot of ego. And how you change that? You can't.
Yeah. But then you might want to rewind our conversation and to rewatch the part where we spoke about how the audience already have a hero, right? They don't care so much about that you're the hero when you're in the leadership role. They actually think that they're quite brilliant as a team member, right? And if you just work with that and let them live up to that feeling, they will be so much more motivated to show their best work if they can really live up to their self-image of being the hero of their own lives and really making their best contribution. They will actually be so much more motivated to do it and to actually provide that contribution.
Yeah, I can see that. That's amazing. Like, you empower people basically to do their best job. I read this book once. I forgot how it's called. It was like, I think a monk wrote it. And I think, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot the name, but if I remember correctly, like the book was a monk, like it was a story of a monk giving a seminar. So the seminar was about leadership. And my takeaway from the whole book, I read it like many, many years ago. That's why I don't remember correctly. But my takeaway from the whole book was basically, if you're the leader, it's all about serving the people below you. And those people below you, in order to be a good leader, they need to make everything like the best effort, whatever they can, to serve those below them. So, yeah, it was all about how can I help you, like the other person who is working for me, do a better job, and I think it fits a lot to the fourth model that I described.
Totally. I mean, you could put it that way, that the smartest person is the one who knows how to tap into the brilliance of everyone on the team, right?
Yeah.
So, and if that's true, then of course you're going to be even smarter if the team is smarter. So, so it's one of your prime concerns to help them become smarter, to help them do their best work. So rather than ask, what can you do for me? Just turning that question around, what can we do for you to make your best work so that you can give back to the team your best contribution, your smartest thinking? That's how we all together will benefit the most.
Oh man, it's amazing. I wish the whole world could be listening to us right now, Michael. Because again, like if you as a leader has a lot of ego and you think that you know best and like how are you gonna create a great company, right? You need to be open to your employees' inputs. Whew, yeah, that's amazing, man. It's so interesting. And the funny thing about this book, I read it like many years ago, like 10 years ago. How long do you think those leadership changes take? Like, how long does it take for for them to catch on, you know, like in a global scale?
Well, I don't have a solid answer for you on that one.
I'm sorry.
I'm not a researcher in that area. I'm just applying what makes sense to me there. But of course, I feel that the internet is actually accelerating that progress, and the phenomenon that it's so much easier to choose where you work for, as opposed to the old times where you were basically stuck with the companies that were in your vicinity, in your neighborhood. You're basically, and then given the fact that that today we're living in kind of an employer's market, where employers have much more power, and can have much more choice in who they want to work for, that this could have an accelerating effect on that. That if you get known as being someone who helps people grow and become better at what they do and grow as a person, as well as as a business, as a business role, then that is certainly going to be someone who attracts talent and who attracts things, and that will probably just be recognized by others, and that what might not exactly force them, but at least motivate them to adapt to those ways of doing things.